The big talk around college football this week is restructuring of the conferences. We may no longer have any divisions, and that's been a sore point for a lot of fans and others across college football, is that the best two teams don't always play in the conference championship game because of the division format. But the NCAA has required conferences with more than 12 teams to play in a division format, but that rule has been changed. Now the conferences have the leeway to disband divisions. All right. Each conference also looking to position itself in the best possible way to get not only its conference champion into the playoff and hopefully with a bye, but also to get as many teams into the playoffs as possible, while also maintaining as many attractive matchups within the conference to present to its fan base to bring in the crowds and the television ratings. So the ACC is out in front of this in regards to making public its thought process and its approach and what it's contemplating for its new structured conference in a 14-team ACC. Of course, welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Please hit the like button, even if you don't agree with me. If you enjoy the content, best discussion, debate, and analysis, that's the aim, that's the goal, that's the mission right here at the Voice of College Football. All right, let's tackle what the ACC is proposing. And first, keep in mind that if the ACC, like the other conferences, had gone to the Big 12 format, which is no divisions, and you take the top two teams and play them in the conference championship game, sometimes it would play out different, of course. And looking at the ACC since 2010, in 2010 and 11, 15, and then the past three seasons, 19, 20, and 21, we would have had the same ACC championship game. Now, we can't project what the schedules would be because the schedules would be different under a different format. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons, we would have had the same participants in the conference championship game. But in these other seasons, particularly at a time when Florida State was the best team in the conference, Clemson emerged as the second best team in the conference, and they played in the same division, of course. They played the most anticipated and most important game in the conference from 2012 through 2016, but then they did not play in the ACC championship game. But they would have, Florida State and Clemson, certainly in 2012, 13, and 14, when Clemson and Georgia Tech tied for the second-best record in the conference at 6-2. 2016 could produce a Clemson-Louisville conference championship game. And then in 2018, it not necessarily would have been Clemson-Pitt, but possibly Clemson taking on Syracuse. The Orange finished with a 6-2 conference record. So that's looking back at what we could have had for ACC championship games. But now looking at the proposal for the ACC. So the proposal is to play 3 designated opponents. So right now the ACC split up into 2 divisions, 7 teams in each division. You play everyone in your division, the other 6 teams, and then you play 2 out of division teams. The one is a designated rival, Miami, Florida State, North Carolina State, and such, that you play every year, and the other game rotates between the other 6 teams in the division. This new format is called a 3-5-5, in which every ACC team would have 3 set rivals of sorts, and then they would play the other 5 teams or the other 10 teams in the conference split 5-5. So each season you would play your 3 designated teams and then your group of 5 teams within the conference. And then the next season you would again play your 3 set rivalry teams and then the other 5 teams in the conference. So is this the worst proposal in the world? No, it's not a bad proposal. It would be fine if implemented, but there's a better way to do it. Let's serve it up right here. So most teams in the conference, of course, have natural rivals, and we want to see those teams play every year. Miami and Florida State have to play every year. North Carolina, NC State, they have to play every year. There are some other lesser-known rivalries, like Clemson, Georgia Tech, that goes back decades and decades and decades, and the 2 fan bases want to play that game, and that right now is the non-division rivalry between Clemson and Georgia Tech. So I would protect all the rivalries. I would continue to protect the rivalries. I have in my mind what I consider to be the rivalries in the ACC, but I would also bring in ACC experts in the school themselves to determine what are those rivalries that need to be protected. And they would be protected under my system. But that system would not be restricted to, okay, everybody has 3 rivals, because not everybody has 3 rivals. Some teams have 1 rival, some have 2, some have really none that have to be protected within this system. My concern is that the scheduling is unfair in the conferences. That has been documented by me many times in many videos, that the conference scheduling is not fair. I would develop a system that would bring equity to scheduling. Everyone would play a 500 schedule. So look at this. So again, the rivalries are protected. Don't worry about them. They're protected. Let's look at Miami's schedule. Now, this is not every year. This is a given year. The Florida State game's protected. That's it. And if we take last year's records, Miami would play. This is just a schedule that could be built. This is not the schedule. This is a schedule that would be built for Miami. For example, under this schedule, they'd play Pitt, Duke, Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, Georgia Tech, Clemson, North Carolina. Okay, what's so magical about this schedule? Well, if you add it all up, those teams went 32-32 last year in the ACC. That's an equitable schedule compared to, here we go, Florida State. Again, they're playing Miami. That's protected every year. Otherwise, in this given year, Clemson, Syracuse, Louisville, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Duke, and Wake Forest. Guess what? That all adds up to 32-32. There are 14 teams, and there are very few games that need to be protected. Everybody could have a 500, and if the math doesn't quite work, and I believe it will, very close to 500 record. Take a look at every team in the ACC. Look at this year's schedule. Look at last year's records, and the schedule inequality is all over the map. I would like to build a 500 schedule for everyone, protect the rivalries, go forward with college football in the ACC. We'll do the same across the board in college football. Let's go next with the Big Ten right here at the Voice of College Football. Please lock it in. Like, subscribe, hit that bell for the notifications to know when we go live. And you know when we do, call me up and let's talk college football.